I thought we had a great crowd tonight. The number of people that were here, I remember our first year here, where there'd be some matches that there'd be half as many as what there were tonight for a scrimmage, and that's what we're hoping to do is continue to get to the point where even our spring matches are filling the entire building. We're close. I think that lower bowl was pretty darn close to being full with a few sprinkled up top. So, and then having the match covered on BTN is just another big step for for the sport of volleyball and them choosing to put some of these spring matches on during this time of year is it's incredible how far the sport has gone, and so we're really appreciative of the network of doing that. I thought spring matches are typically a little bit uneven, and throughout the entire country, I think. And especially when you have a lot of newer pieces. But I thought that we had some times where we played some pretty good volleyball. It's usually a little bit more errors than what you see during the fall when you're practicing a little bit more and you're spending a little bit more time on team play. But I thought we did a lot of really good things. I thought Madison Quest took some really nice swings and from the front row and the back row, and somebody that's playing out of her natural position, and thought she took some really healthy swings, and thought Charlie really was looking to go to the back row quite a bit. And that's certainly a focus of ours is to get the back row going and get her going a little bit offensively. And I thought she was opportunistic on her attacking on two. Yeah. It's just me because we're doing some autographs and trying to introduce these guys to our fan base. There are just so many new people here, and so that's why I'm flying solo.
Kelly, as far as Madison goes, you kind of touched on she's playing out of position. Just can you speak to what her development on the right side and what kind of stands out to you maybe just in terms of how she's coming along there?
Yeah. She comes ready to learn. She's a mature player. She's serious. She wants to learn. She wants to get better. I enjoy coaching Mad Dog. It doesn't matter that she is playing out of a position. If I told her to go in there and play middle or go and set, she wouldn't even blink. She would just go and do it to the best of her ability without fear. She'd try to learn as much as she could, and when you have players that are like that, it makes coaching, a little bit more enjoyable. So it was a good match. She's gotten better each match that we played, and that's because she approaches practice the right way.
You had maybe more errors than you wanted serving, but it seemed like you had their setter on the run most of the night.
Yeah.
If the serves were in, they were flying all over the place.
Yeah.
How big of a weapon do you see that part of your game maybe being this year?
It'll have to be, I think. We're a little bit smaller, but I think we've got the ability of being really, really good. There's some people that, Grace Egan wasn't, her hand contact was a little bit funky, which is really about the first time that I've seen it like that. But she can get on some gnarly runs. You're going to have some times where that hand contact's going to be a little bit off. Carter's serve has been getting better and better and a little bit more consistent, but when you've only got two middles, you're a little bit leery about having one of them go back here and defend their area of the court. And so we're not asking her to we're not putting that on her right now. but we've got the ability. Mimi's got a really nasty serve. Charlie's is adding a really nice drop serve to her drive, and she was really working both of those and getting them off balance. We weren't scoring a lot off with her drop serve, or they were having a little bit easier time passing her drop serve than her drive. But I think that was keeping the passers off balance a little bit, going back and forth. And she hasn't really done much yo-yoing in the past. Mimi's got a really nasty serve. But if you're going to serve, you're going to turn up the heat. You're probably going to be, out of the strike zone a little bit more. But I like the potential that we've got behind the service line.
You gave Mally a chance at libero this evening. Just what were you looking for? What kind of jumps out at you?
I like how she'd been practicing. She'd been putting the work in, and she'll go back and it's. I thought overall, I would say she did a pretty good job, but a lot of room for her to be even better. There's still. When you're playing that position, you got to command that position. You got to command the court, and there were some times that she was a little bit passive, waiting for somebody else to go and get some balls. But she's still in her freshman year. She didn't play a whole lot in the fall, so that's something that she'll get better at. What I liked is how resilient she was after an error, whether that was just passing or communication or defending. Those times of just being able to lock right back in and get back to work is something that we talk about, and I was really proud of her for how she was able to do that.
You touched on it a little bit, but what excites you about having a player like Mimi, and what about her performance impressed you tonight?
It's what's not to like, right? I think she's an aircraft carrier and wants to, is able to take an awfully big load. We've had some of those in our time here, and there's been some years that we've had a couple of them, and she's certainly in that. She's one of the more talented, competitive players in the country. She approaches the game in a way that others want to be around her. They want to play with her. They want to compete with her. And you see her getting more and more comfortable each week that we've gone. She was a little quiet early on, just kind of feeling her way around and in practice, and we're starting to see the competitive juices go up even a little bit more. And I think once she, we're getting close, I think, to getting all of Mimi, and that's certainly pretty exciting because she's got more in her. She's got a lot more in her than where she's been at this point in her career, which makes it really exciting. She's going to be a special player for years, and for us to be able to get her for a season is something that's pretty awesome.
Any last questions?
Thanks, guys.